Football is back in Columbus, Ohio. Ohio State hit the practice field for the first time since winning the national championship. The new banner is over there, National Champions 2024. We've got an Oregon 21, Ohio State 41 Rose Bowl banner, a new banner for the Cotton Bowl, and of course the national championship banner over there. That's Mick Walker on the other side of me. I usually say other side of your screen.
No
this
banners
is Spencer
on me,
Holbrook.
though.
No banners here, just Lettermen Row. Of course I've got my Rowback activewear on. Best fit, best field. 20% off your first order. A generous 20% off and use the code Lettermen20 at rowback.com. That's RHOBACK.com. Lettermen20 is the code. Ohio State just hit the practice field for the first time this spring. Mick, we were able to watch about an hour of practice. Then we talked to the head ball coach himself, Ryan Day, a loose, relaxed Ryan Day. You were out here for all of it. What was your big takeaway from today after watching the Buckeyes in practice? I assume we'll go to the quarterbacks and start there, but you can take it wherever you need.
Yeah, they're just rolling through the quarterbacks like last spring, but really they're rolling through everybody because multiple guys took reps at guard, tackle, moving all around the offensive line. Guys rotating safety spots, rotating linebacker spots, defensive end, edge rushers. So the versatility, I think, and Ryan Day even talked about with the roster cut down and the size on that. There's a big reason why they're trying to work guys at different spots. So just seeing where different guys lined up throughout the day and the ever-changing positions they were at.
That's the interesting thing to me is Ryan Day, I asked him specifically about Austin Cereville playing tackle. He said, well, with the 105 now that they're expecting to be cut down to for the full roster, that's scholarship walk-ons, you only have 105 on the roster. He said everybody has to be able to play two positions. Austin Cereville's playing guard and tackle. Luke Montgomery, guard and center. CJ Hicks, linebacker and defensive end. They are, the safeties are playing both positions. Corners are playing nickel. Nickels are playing corner. They are taking that to heart, making versatility the name of the game in spring ball. I would not be surprised at all if you see a lot of different ways that these guys are used in spring ball, just because there's not really any consequence to it. They're just training out here, and I like that. I'm going to go first of all to the quarterbacks, though, because what we saw from Julian Sayin today, a little bulkier. It looked like his legs were a little bigger, and I don't really like, going into talking about, body composition and things like that, because that's for Mickey Marotti to do. But he does look a little bigger. I thought Tavian St. Clair, had a couple growing pains out here, his first spring practice.
Physically impressive from all three of them, though.
Yeah,
Lincoln, Julian,
Lincoln
Tavian
looks
St.
good.
Clair, everybody looked good.
All three of them throwing the pigskin around a little bit. They all looked good. Lincoln was pretty accurate. I thought Julian was really accurate. The one thing that I will say is everything that you hear about Julian's accuracy and Julian's arm strength and the way that the ball flies off the hand, just watch 3 or 4 throws. You see it. I mean, it's so polished, the release.
Snaps
and
out of there.
It snaps out of there. The ball is on a tight spiral almost every time he throws it. It's an impressive display, him throwing the football, and I think that's something that is eventually going to win out in this battle, but it was on display day one here in spring ball.
Yeah, I think the other thing that interests me, and you got to see it a little bit more, but Ian Moore at right tackle, just a little bit of it throughout the day. I don't know if there's some kind of rule that they have to have an Indiana native at right tackle while Ryan Day's here being head coach, but seeing him kind of battling for that spot with Phillip Daniels throughout the offensive line. Obviously, Ethan Onyanwa seemed to hold down the left tackle spot, and Ryan Day talked about how they're kind of focusing on him there and then cutting down on some of his weight. But that right tackle battle is one that I think all just kind of assumed it was going to go to Phillip Daniels, but Ian Moore obviously did not assume anything there.
Yeah, it's interesting. The tackles are interesting because Cereville and Moore took the first reps at tackle, just because I think there's some deference paid there to them being returners, as Onyanwa and Daniels are still finding the bathroom in this place. But, it is interesting that those 4 are kind of the 4 tackles we saw today. Obviously, they lost George Fitzpatrick to the transfer portal. They lost Zen Mahalski to the transfer portal. They lost, obviously, Josh Simmons in October. They lost Donovan Jackson and Josh Fryer, but all 3 of those guys going to the NFL. So, when you lose 5 tackles and now you've replaced them with really 3 because Ian Moore was already on the roster, Cereville moving to tackle for at least today, and then Daniels and Onyanwa, I still think they're thin at tackle. And so it is interesting to me that not only is Cereville sliding out there, but that Ian Moore was taking some serious reps at right tackle. Now, they weren't doing anything. A lot of it was against trash cans, and I even made the comment on the Lettermen Lounge message board, $1 for your first week of spring ball right here on the Lettermen Lounge message board, $1 for your first week. That, CJ Hicks looked like Lawrence Taylor against trash cans today. But, that's what it is with the offensive line, too. They're not doing anything. It's still interesting to be able to get some observations about this offensive line. I thought Luke Montgomery looked good today. Tegra Shibola was moving around pretty well. I still think he was a little banged up at the end of the year last year. Josh Padilla, I think, looks really good compared to where he was. And then I hate to do this because you might be able to help me. 72, one of the Armstrongs.
I believe that's Deontay. Deontay's the tackle, I believe.
Yeah, he looked good out there. I mean, he looks the part. And you know what? Deontay Armstrong. He caught my eye. I didn't put him in the observation, but he caught my eye. Like, he looks the part. And now in hindsight, I don't know if I would have said that about Deontay Armstrong at this time last year. Like, does he look like I thought when the Armstrongs came to Ohio State, they were built a little bit like linebackers because they just were a little thinner. They needed to develop. Well, Deontay, I saw him out here. I said, who's 72? I look at the roster. Oh, my gosh. Like, he's changed a lot. And so this offensive line, I think especially, is full of guys that you've seen develop throughout this offseason. It's really exciting to see what Tyler Bowen can do when he gets his hands on him.
Yeah, and then you talk about a guy like Carter Lowe, who on the roster we got handed, it was 340 pounds. Like, that's going to come down, and he's going to settle into one of those tackle spots as a backup, and whether it's in the 2 deep or third string, whatever. I'm excited to see how he develops, and there was other freshmen, but I think everybody, when we walked in the building, said, oh, what freshman do we want to see? It was Devin Sanchez, and it was easy to see what. I mean, he looks like he's already been playing college football for about 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah, he does, and it's the pterodactyl arms. Like, he's got the same arms as Davis Nigbenogson, and I always said that I didn't think we would ever see another corner as long as Jeff Okudah. Well, then Davis Nigbenogson is here, and then it's like, well, Davison's probably the longest corner we'll ever see, and then they add Aaron Scott, and then it's like, well, nobody's going to be as long as Aaron coming up, and then Devin Sanchez is here. So it's just, hey man is the perfect way to say it, because that's what Tim Walton says. Hey man, Tim Walton's got a type, and he likes these really long, physical, athletic corners. That's what you're getting in Devin. Let's talk here, Mick. Let's transition here, because I want to talk about what Ryan Day was talking about today, the quarterbacks and the leadership. Ryan said that he's more relaxed than he was 2 months ago. He said, let's just call it what it is, in a kind of a quick quip back to Berm from over there at the podcast. Just, Berm said, you look a little more relaxed, and he said, I am. Let's call it what it is. He goes in a little bit more relaxed, but also like he's locked in on trying to win a second national championship. He's made it known that he wants to be the first Ohio State coach to win multiple since Woody Hayes. But that's going to take a lot of leadership, not just from him, but from his new batch of leaders. He talked about leadership a ton up at that podium after practice number 1. I think it's on his mind.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, he was very relaxed with us. I think he's obviously, with the media, he's understood now. You, like he said, you even get a little bit more benefit of the doubt after you win a national championship. He started his press conference by remarking about Pat Murphy from Bucknuts, his green sweatshirt, and appreciated him celebrating St. Patrick's Day. But then when Kellyanne Stitt, who obviously works with one of the TV networks here, mentioned that about how the quarterbacks look today, he just shook his head and he said, hey, I never like how we look on day 1. And probably won't look like how they look on day 2. So it was interesting. He was very relaxed with the media. I don't think he was very relaxed when it comes to practice. He was still coming around. He did take a picture of the 3 banners that are up, just trying to soak in the moment before they fully dive into next season. But on the field, he was pretty intense. And I mean, you have a ton of different new faces out here, so he's trying to make sure everybody else is getting in order. It seemed like it was pretty much it was football cardio today. Both sides running up and down. It was 50 yards, and offenses running from 10 yards in, 10 yards out, running up and down a lot. But it seemed like it was a pretty intense practice for what they were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and then he talked a little bit about the defensive line. He talked a little bit about corners. He talked a little bit about the running back room, which is the last thing that I want to talk about is the running back room. Man, like, I know they haven't done anything. And I even put C.J. Donaldson in there because doing it in the Big 12 at West Virginia is not doing it here at Ohio State. But, like, he looks the part. He looks slim for his weight. I don't think he's 237 anymore, like it says on the roster. He's still a big, bulkier back. He looks great for that weight. He carries it really well. James Peoples looks a little even bigger, which I didn't know was possible because his arms are the size of tree trunks. He looks even a little bigger. And then, like, the one that's going to keep catching my eye because of what we heard in here like 10 days ago when we talked to some of the coaches around, and then we come in here today and you just look at him, it's like, oh my gosh, he's huge. Bo Jackson. Like, I know they're inexperienced, they've got a lot to replace, but man, like, you look at the room and then you hear Ryan Day talk about the room, and I think they all understand the potential in the room, and then when you see it on the field, it's like, okay, like, I think they're in good hands.
Yeah, if Tim Walton has the type of cornerback, Carlos Laughlin definitely has the type of running back, and they all have to have big biceps. I don't know if that helps with ball security, but they've all been in the weight room very much with Mick Marotti. You can tell that with Bo Jackson, who's been here for a few months. Even Isaiah West, who is not going through drills today, but just staying on the sideline. He looked massive. Like you said, C.J. Donaldson's getting down. It's going to be funny here in in the summer when they get Turbo Rogers in, who's going to be shorter than all of them, thinner than all. He's going to kind of sneak behind all of them. But yeah, it was an impressive look at the running back group today. The linebackers look good. I mean, we've talked a ton about Riley Pettijohn and TJ Alford. It's good to just see him in pads. Sonny Styles, I think, adds about 10 pounds in a good way of muscle every single time I see him. He looks like a literal superhero. And then, like you said, I think there's some other guys like the safety spot. I think Malik Hartford did some good things today. Jalen McClain, sorry, TJ's his brother, who's a recruit in the 26th class, but Jalen McClain looked good. And then there was just a ton of guys when it comes to, I think CJ Hicks, like you said, adjusted fine. Logan George was kind of fitting in. And then Edric Houston, again, still looks insane, looks like an alien as well.
Yeah, Edric was the first guy who I saw the entire spring, the first one, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, give him an All-American honor. It's like he looks the part. He's first team all get off the bus.
Yeah.
Like he's going to intimidate when he gets off the bus. Last thing from me, Deshaun Stewart, freshman safety, did not practice with the team. He was over in the pit working with trainers, things like that. Isaiah West did not practice with the team, working in the pit over there. Senior safety Keenan Nelson Jr. over in the pit. Don't know what's going on there. We'll try to get some answers on that. And then senior running back T.C. Caffey. He did a little bit of stuff, but he wasn't doing a lot.
Big sleeve on his leg.
Big sleeve on his leg. Still coming back from that torn ACL suffered last year. A lot of excitement about him last year. He's obviously still rehabbing. I think they'll take a lot of time with him getting him back. I don't think he looked full speed today, but he was doing a little bit of cutting and things like that. So good news, I think, on his front, but I'm not sure how much we'll see of him from the spring. I did ask Ryan Day if they had a list of guys that are going to be out for the spring. Ryan said he would get the list to us the next time we talk to him. That will be next week, and I will probably follow up with him and ask him if we have that list yet. So those are just kind of some news and notes, I guess, housekeeping notes to take into consideration. And then I'm going to get us out of here on this. I'm sorry not to give you another word. I saw Micah Champ-Smith today, and
big recruiting day, by the way. Everybody talks about how they didn't have people on campus for the first couple weeks of March. They're making up for it in a vast order. I mean, you had 4 or 5 Power 4 offensive line prospects, a couple guys, Sam Greer, Micah Smith, who Spencer's talking about. Big recruiting day, and we're going to have all that too with me and Alex Leitman at Lettermen Row. But take us out on Champ-Smith, because I think he's someone that all the guys watching this video, all guys and gals, love to look at and talk about.
Listen, I was watching the practice field, and I'm just standing there like this, watching the practice, and I turn my head just to like see what's going on to the left of me. And there's just this massive figure in a white hoodie. And I was like, why is an NFL offensive lineman here? And it was like, oh wait, his sweatshirt says Vero on it. That's Micah Smith. Oh my gosh, he's the largest human being I've ever seen in my life, which isn't really true. I've seen large people before. But like, it's staggering how big that guy is. And I know Ohio State's like at the top of his list right now. Whew. That's a guy that we'll be talking about a lot over in the Letterman Lounge. Go to the Letterman Lounge right now. That's what the Lettermen Row message board is called. It's $1 for your first week right now. You get a full week of spring practice, basically on us. And then we'll talk about pricing after that. That's Mick Walker over there on the other side of me. Good to be back in person. Good to be back in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center for practice number 1 for Ohio State. I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like the video below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll see you guys over at lettermenrow.com, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday for more coverage of Buckeye spring practice.